Okay, hello, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to be showing you how I made this lovely poster, and I'm going to be walking you through my design process. Before I show you my workflow, I wanted to give some background about how this poster came to be. I knew that I wanted to make a poster to put in my office area here. All of the posters that I have on my wall right here, none of it is my own work, so I wanted to change that, and I wanted to make something that was inspired by these two different quotes that I've been referencing a lot ever since I've been sharing my design work more. The first quote is from Rick Rubin's Creative Act, which I've never actually read. It might be called The Creative Way, but he says, "We tend to think that what we're making is the most important thing in our lives and that it's going to define us for all of eternity. Consider moving forward from the more accurate point of view, that it's a small work, a beginning. The mission is to complete the project so you can move on to the next. And that next one is a stepping stone to the following work. And so it continues in a productive rhythm for the eternity of your creative life." I don't remember where I heard this quote or how I found it, but I thought it was awesome. And this next book that I'm referencing is Atomic Habits by James Clear, and I have read this book and it's really awesome. Also, he says, "Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as votes build up, so does the evidence for your new identity. But I combined these two quotes and I birthed this quote. I thought it was a good affirmation to just like keep going and get started. Not to put so much pressure on every single thing that you make. Just to preface my design process, it's not very linear in this video because I didn't sketch out anything beforehand. Because I didn't do that, I spent the first 30 minutes just like doom scrolling through Pinterest and Adobe fonts and Spotify. But if I would have sketched it out beforehand, then it would have been completely different from the poster that I have now. So I think that it's okay to not be so linear. Pick your poison kind of thing. My first real step that I took was I made a mood board, and I'll insert the mood board here. I didn't reference it too much, mostly just the colors. I think that at first I tried too hard to reference the mood board, and then once I strayed away from it and started doing my own thing, everything really fell into place. Okay, so I started in Illustrator here, and if you're wondering why it looks weird, it's because I used the 2023 version of Illustrator because I just have not updated it, and I probably am not going to because it still works. And I like the image trace better than the newer version. Anyways, I digress. I just made an artboard at 16 by 24 inches in CMYK, of course, because I do plan to get this printed one day. After I opened the document, I just copied in the quote, and after scrolling through a bunch of fonts, I chose Puntino, a font called Puntino, I think is what it's called, and the other one, I can't remember the name of it. I think it's Rotunda Veneta. I found Puntino when I was looking through a bunch of fonts for a different branding project, and I just loved the way it looked, and so I took a picture of it on my phone and I ended up using it here. It's such a beautiful font. It's a polka dot, like dotted script font, and it has like a couple different weights and a super cool one that I'm going to show you later. And then I paired it with Rotunda Veneta, and that's just like a beautiful black letter font that I love so much, and I'm so obsessed with black letter fonts, and I probably always will be. I always have, and I always will be. Also, if you're one of my friends watching this, and you see me scrolling through one of your Spotify playlists, just know that I I'm always stalking your Spotify playlist. I referenced this yellow greenish color from my mood board. It started off super yellow, but I think I made it more green in the end. Once I committed to these two fonts, I knew that I wanted the text to slightly offset from each other. I was trying to figure out which weight would be the best for offsetting them from each other, and while I was doing that, I noticed that there was a version where the dots were stars, and it was like a kismet moment because everything that I've designed so far has had like stars in it, so it was just like super on brand. But I knew I had to use the version with the stars, but the weight of the font was like way too bold and I wanted it to be lighter, and they only had one version. So what I did was I converted it into an object and I did a negative offset, and I grouped together all of the text from that negative offset, and I got this like lighter version of the font, which fit in perfectly with the offset idea that I had. Here I was playing with the layout a little bit, and I was trying to align all the lines of text evenly, but I didn't group the lines of text correctly. So when I vertically, or is that vertical? I think it's a horizontal. When I aligned it horizontally, or I tried to align it evenly, all of the letters just like scattered across the artboard. And I looked at it for a little bit and I just loved something about it. So that's kind of how the idea of scattering the letters like diagonal, that's where I got this idea, is when I accidentally scattered all the letters across this artboard. I feel like I've done that so many times where I've accidentally done something in Illustrator and I just love the way it looked and I ran with it. After I finished the typography, I knew that I wanted to add something more to it, and I tried to add a couple different things. I tried just drawing in Procreate, like on the artboard, just like little wispy lines, but I didn't love the way that it looked. I tried to also add some flowers in, but I was scrolling through the public domain and just on Public Works website, and I found this beautiful little pony that had curly hair, and I love seeing, whenever I see an animal drawing with like curly hair, I'm like, I have to use it because I have curly hair, and so it's just curly hair representation. I feel like it's like putting a part of me in a design. Like I feel like adding like a detail of like curly hair because I have curly hair. But I just took this image into Procreate and I just outlined it, I traced it, and then I just added like a couple, I think I added like a tail with curly hair and like a little bang, like curly bang. And I added like a pointy princess hat, I think that's what it's called, with a little veil at the top of it. I also drew a border around this little pony, this little pink pony girl. I wanted it to be kind of like an emblem, but when I image traced it and put it into Illustrator, I ended up removing the border. So you'll see it with the border and then you'll see it without a border. When I was searching through the public domain, I also found this beautiful image of a crocheted lace. I don't know what this type of crocheting is called, but it's like when people crochet with like almost a thread and a super tiny crochet. They make like lace with it. And so when I saw this, I immediately clocked it. I immediately knew that it was like a crocheted lace and it was just so beautiful. I love crocheted lace. I just knew I had to use it. So I took this image and I put it into Photoshop and I added a threshold and I added a gradient map to invert it. And then I selected it with like the color range and then I exported it as a PNG. And then after I exported it, I brought it back into Illustrator and then I just like pieced it together. I chopped it up and made this border, this lace border. That was super fun doing that, honestly, because it just felt like a puzzle. And last but not least, I exported everything, the 3 different artboards that I had, and I put them into Photoshop. I added some texture to it. I think I added a ripple effect at 150%, a diffuse layer with a darken only diffuse, and I added some noise at like 8%, and yeah, and then I just exported all of them. But yeah, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this, me walking through my process. I hope that you feel inspired from it. Feel free to steal my quote and do your own version of it, and please send it to me on Instagram. I really want to get this printed still, so one day I'm gonna get it printed, and I will also document that probably again also on my Instagram. Love you. Thank you.